Hello all and welcome to Astro Wheel of Fortune. My name is Vlada and I read tarot, and today I'm doing a reading on what does the past version of yourself want to tell you. Now, I don't necessarily mean by past version, I don't necessarily mean your inner child. I don't necessarily mean a childhood version of you. I don't necessarily mean that it's a certain age. I wanted to leave that open to interpretation. So I'm going to see if the past version is like the child you, the teenage you. If you're older, maybe it's the 30s version of you. We're going to see what wants to come through and pick up on that. Now, what inspired this was a letter that I actually wrote for myself when I was 23, and I just opened it the other day, and years have gone by, and I was just a bit shocked by how many things I actually ended up manifesting in that letter. And even though that letter had slightly, I remember when I was writing that letter, I had slightly different intentions, but the way that things manifested, they manifested in the way that was best for me, but also it's kind of like everything that was in the letter got manifested, but it got manifested not in a way that I expected it to get to manifest. So it was really cool to see that. So I on my Instagram yesterday, I put up a post about what does your future self want to tell you, and if you want to check that out, you can go on my Instagram at Astro Wheel of Fortune. You can see my username in the description box below. But for the video reading, I was also inspired to do a message from your past version of yourself. So, let's get started. We've got 5 piles as always. If you want to pause the video and pick pile 1, pile 2, pile 3, pile 4, or pile 5, take your time, pause the video, but I'm going to get started. So we're going to get started now with pile number 1. So pile number 1, let's see, what does the past version of yourself want to tell you, and what might be this past version, where is this past version of you right now, and what does this version of you want to tell you? What do they want to say? So we've got Evil Queen, you deserve sugar, not salt. We've got Kitsune, I will show you whom to trust. We've also got Intuition. And we've also got the 10 of Swords. Now, I'll be live shuffling as well. I've got a couple of tarot decks here that I'll be able to shuffle for this if we need a little bit more information. But I wanted to start just with a simple spread first. So let me see. The past version of yourself is feeling betrayed right now. That's what I'm feeling. With the 10 of Swords here and with the I will show you whom to trust, and even with the Evil Queen, you deserve sugar, not salt. I feel like the past version of you is feeling really, really betrayed right now, and the past version of you is kind of wondering how to deal with it right now, how to deal with this betrayal. Now, this could be a cheating situation for some of you, or this could be like a friendship betrayal. I kind of feel like it's very personal. There's something very personal about this. The past version of you is feeling betrayed in a very, very, I really feel like this hurt the past versions of you feeling. So whatever happened in the past here, I see that it really hurt your feelings. And the past version of you is currently really connecting to your intuition, really connecting to, I feel like the past version of you is really connecting to your dreams right now, really trying to connect to you through your dreams right now. Maybe you're dreaming about things that happened in the past currently. Maybe you're even having I don't know whether you're having nightmares or just dreams about this betrayal. I think it's because the past version of you is really worried about it and is wondering if they'll ever get over it. Now, my intuition is telling me that you are over this betrayal, because we've got this because I'm seeing this as your present self almost with the intuition card. Listen to your intuition as it's your soul calling out to you. I really feel like this girl having this big smile on her face, I really feel like you're over this betrayal and you're actually thriving when it comes. So for example, if this was a cheating situation, you could actually be thriving in your love life right now, whether you're in a relationship or single. I feel like you feel really happy with how your love life is going right now, or at least you're satisfied with where you are. And I feel like the past version of you is really trying to connect to that happiness. Now, I do see that they're struggling and it's really hard for them to see if they'll ever be able to trust anyone again. And I feel like, so one purpose of this reading and how I wanted to approach it is to see maybe if you need to connect with the past version of you and maybe write them a letter, maybe journal with them in mind, like with you and your past version of yourself in mind. And I'm seeing that, yes, this would be a really good idea, especially with meditation, or especially before you go to sleep. Because the dream world seems to be really connected here. Before you go to sleep, try and connect to your past self, remembering that sense of betrayal and remembering that time where you felt super, super betrayed by someone in your life. And connect to your past self and let them know that you're okay. Both of you are okay, that both of you survived this betrayal. Now, another thing that's coming through is your sense of style, and the past version of yourself is really thinking about, it's kind of almost like a separate message. It's really thinking about changing up their style right now. And I feel like the past version of you is really planning how they want to look in the future. And the way that you look right now and your current way of styling yourself, your current way of dressing, is something that the past version of you is really aspiring to. And I feel like they're really connected to that, and they really love it because I feel like they fantasize about like these beautiful, maybe it's something that you weren't able to afford in the past. Maybe like a past version of you wasn't able to afford certain beautiful items of clothing that you liked. Maybe you couldn't get your hair done the way that you wanted to because of like strict parents or something like that. I do feel like this past version of you is on the younger side, but it doesn't feel like a child version of you. It feels more like a teenager / like 20s, maybe early 20s version of you. Now, if you're a teenager right now, this probably something that happened quite recently for you. I just don't feel like this is a child version of you. There's something about this past version of you really wondering if you are, you get to be unique. And I feel like presently you do get to be unique, and you get to express your unique abilities a little bit more. And that's something that the past version of you is really amazed by and loves, because they can feel it. It's like you have such a strong connection to this past version of you. So especially for those of you that are not a teenager anymore, I think you have a very strong connection to the teenage self, to your teenage self. You have a really strong connection. There's a lot of healing that needs to be done, I do see, especially gets done through dreams. So maybe you're dreaming about things from your teenage years. Maybe you're dreaming about, maybe this betrayal had to do with like teenage friends or something like that. You know, the way teenagers can be quite mean, depending. This could be you recreating those scenarios so that you can heal them. You're healing a lot of your specifically teenage traumas, or traumas that you received when you were like, I'd say between 15 and 15 and 20 even. So there's a lot, but I feel like you felt so betrayed when you were a teenager. And I feel like maybe for some of you this is a family situation, but for most of you I feel like this is either like an early relationship where you got cheated on as a teenager and it really affected you, or this could be a group of friends or a specific friend that betrayed you, and it's something that you're currently healing. You're really connected to that version of yourself that felt betrayed. So your past self in that state is really thankful to you for standing your ground, for being original. You're really inspirational to the past version of you, of how individual you are and how you never falter, under peer pressure. Maybe you're really struggling. The past version of you could be really struggling with peer pressure currently, and they need your help. So I feel like they really want you to talk to them before you go to sleep. Wow, yeah. I feel like, even if you don't recognize it right now, but I feel like if you were really to sit down and really think about it, you are so much happier now in this present version of yourself than you were when you were a teenager, like miles happier and miles more true to yourself, because the sun card always makes me think of sticking to your guns and being true to yourself and being the most authentic version of you. So I feel like another thing that I'm getting is that this this younger version of you, this kind of teenage version of you, really wants you to keep in mind the type of people that betrayed you, so that you know the type of people to stay away from. And hence we have this, I will show you whom to trust. I feel like the teenager you was really, really sweet and really wanted to get on with people and really wanted to fit in, but also wanted to continue being an individual. I wonder if you got really either bullied or really, betrayal is so strong here. Like, I just cannot, like, you got betrayed in your teenage years in some sort of way, and it's still like, you know, this past version of you really is hurting over it. But I'm really getting a strong energy that, like, they're so happy to see you. Maybe you have a really good circle of friends around you now, but particularly I think it's because of your boundaries and how you're able to call people out on their bullshit. And I think the teenager version of you is so amazed that you're able to set boundaries the way that you are, because they were not able to set boundaries. And so it was very easy to betray them. It was very easy to, I just feel like this group, you must have had like a nasty ex that either cheated on you, or like a nasty friend that betrayed you, and they like kind of left you very shocked. For a small percentage of you, I feel like maybe this was a family member, but this really feels a little bit more like, you know, you're going to school and you want to fit in with people in the school, but you know what I'm saying? I hope that makes sense. It's like, but you can't seem to fit in, but there's so much like, you're just very individual, and it's almost like, you know, sometimes when people are different, and other people can be really fascinated with how different they are. But there's also a sense of almost envy or jealousy because you possess this type of individual kind of energy, that instead of like stepping up to their own individuality because they're afraid of standing out and being different, they'll bully you or they'll put you down like, oh, you're like weirdo. Maybe I feel like some of you, maybe when you were like teenagers, you would have been considered a weirdo or something like that. But again, I love because I heard somewhere that the word weird used to mean otherworldly. It wasn't, not to say weird has like a really bad connotation these days, but it does, you know, if you're calling somebody weird, you're not necessarily calling them otherworldly or like amazing or of having potential to change the world. And I think that's kind of the past version of you, through your eyes, through the current you eyes, is able to see that their individuality is not shameful, it's special and it's beautiful. We've got Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius represented here. Aquarians are very unique, but I'm just, you know, you are a very smart teenager, I feel. And the past version of you that's coming through as a teenager, they're realizing that they're really smart because they can see the world through your eyes. When you were a teenager, I get a sense that you knew that everything was going to turn out to be okay. You just felt really hurt. It's like you knew that in the end everything's going to be okay, and in the end you're going to be an individual, and you're going to be able to present yourself whatever way you wanted. You'd be able to dress whatever way you wanted, and you'd pick a circle of friends or people around you who wouldn't betray you. And I think because your teenager self was very, very intuitive, especially through, for some reason, dreams are coming through, like seeing things through a dream. Like, it's almost like in their dreams they see you as your present self, and to them you're perfect. Even if you, as the present version of you, you don't see yourself as perfect, the teenage you sees you as so perfect and so cool. Like, I kind of feel like the teenage version of you is really impressed by how cool you are. And even if you don't feel like a cool person, or a cool if you're like an adult or you're a slightly older teenager, you don't feel cool, the past version of you thinks you're so freaking cool. Like, you're really impressive. You're really, really impressive. And they're really, really happy that they're kind of like, that's me. I'm going to be this cool, cool person. I just need to stick to my guns. I just need to stay original to like. And look at this. I'm really, because there's a lot of eye imagery in this card. You see on her shirt, and then we've got the third eye, and we've got eye. You can even see the eyes in the bits of tape here, and then we've also got the eyes on the cherries here on the. I don't know if you have like a weird fun tattoo. I just feel like you're super, super original, and you really stick to your guns, and you really express yourself whatever way you want to now. You don't get hung up on like, oh, if I express myself this way, I'm not going to fit in. And I feel like the teenager you is like mad impressed, because it's everything they wanted to do, but they weren't ready to do yet. They didn't have that like ability to set boundaries and to be like, this is who I am, and you can either take it or leave it. And even I'm getting this strong sense that maybe you're doing a lot better than the people that betrayed you, or you're at least like, you just don't care about the people that betrayed you anymore. You're really kind of, I'm even getting, for some of you, maybe the person that betrayed you or the people that betrayed you came back trying to get back into your life, and you were like, no. And I think the younger version of you, the past version of you, and specifically this feels very teenager to me, I think they're amazed. They're like, wow, like you're such a bad bitch, like literally. But it's more so like, you're not this kind of, I suppose bad bitch can be interpreted in different ways. You're not this, like, you're not necessarily cold-hearted, because there's a lot of warmth to you with the sun, but I think you can be cold with people that you know are either bad for you or did you dirty. And I think your teenager self, the past version of yourself, is just like so proud. And I cannot explain how impressed by you the past version of you is. Like, they just think you're cool. When you, like, I know when I was a teenager specifically, and I sometimes even do, like, if you watch somebody or you see somebody and you're like, wow, they're so cool. Like, I'd really love to be like them. And that's the impression that the past version of you has of you currently. And I think that's just so, it's like you're the older cool sister that they either wanted to be or wish they had, if that makes sense, or sister or brother, depending on who you identify as, that cooler sibling, that older cooler sibling that they wanted to be, and they're seeing that is them, and it's like, oh my god, I can't believe that's me. That's so cool. I'm so excited. And yeah, I think also they really like how you speak your mind, like how the present you speak. Maybe they didn't speak their mind always, and when they tried, they were knocked down or they were dismissed, and so they're amazed that they were able to get out of that energy of always second guessing what they're about to say as well. Really love this energy. Your past self, the teenager self that came through, I think they're just so impressed. They're like, I'm so cool now. They're loving that energy. Okay, so let's move on. I really love doing this reading. If you liked it, do like, subscribe, and comment with your feedback. I'd love to see how this resonated, but I'm going to move on to pile number 2. So pile number 2, let's see. You got quite a few cards, I have to say. So I was shuffling extra cards for the first pile, but I don't know if we'll need to shuffle for you, but we'll see. So how does a past version of you feel about you, and what type of past version of you is it, potentially? So we've got Tower, unplug and relax for a spell. Okay, we've got Lighthouse, don't doubt your worth. Nice. We've also got 2 kittens, you must choose. We've got illumination. Light from flames will begin to illuminate everything around you, revealing how things truly are. And we've also got the 9 of swords. And we've got the Knight of Pentacles. Well, I'm getting a really strong message straight away, and I'm just going to talk about it. And I think there's more messages, but this is very strong. Your past self is a past self that has really unruly, difficult anxiety, or like difficulty with processing overthinking. I think because with the you must choose, there's like I kind of throws me instantly in the energy of like trying to decide and being really stressed with deciding. We've also got the Nine of Swords, which is kind of very traditional for anxiety. And I really feel like this unplug and relax and the Knight of Pentacles, the past version of you that's coming through here honestly could be any age. But the specific kind of criteria that they're giving me here for who they are when they're like, as they're coming through, is somebody very, 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 very anxious, extremely anxious. The anxiety is like through the roof with this past version of yourself. And what they're loving to see in the present version of you, I'm getting that you're not necessarily done with anxiety. It's not like you completed anxiety, put it outside and left it out the window. It's that you're dealing with it a lot better, and this gives this past version of you this really anxious, like this is the kind of anxiety that is almost like they can't manage it. They don't know how to manage it. They don't even know where to begin to manage it. But I feel like you're in the stage where you're managing it, especially with the Tower here. I'm thinking of like not manifestation, meditation. There's a very peaceful energy. I am always enough, not always thinking that you need to do more, more, and more. I feel like you're in a state of mind that is very, very collected. And even when anxiety does come through, and maybe you even have anxiety attacks, you are still very good at managing them, even if it does come through. And this past version of yourself is realizing through your current eyes that little by little, they can get better at managing their anxiety. That it's not going to go away overnight. I think you are someone that went through basically managing your anxiety little by little. With the Knight of Pentacles, you took it day by day. You started practicing, whether it's meditation, whether you decided to go on antidepressants, whether you decided to go walking meditation, whether you decided to exercise to manage your anxiety, whether you decided to go to therapy for your anxiety. I feel like you tried it all, or at least you're on the way to trying as many ways of managing it as possible. And you're inspiring this past version of yourself to believe that they're enough and that they can do this. I feel like you connect very well with the past version of yourself when you're dealing with your anxiety, because I feel like anxiety is something that this past version of you definitely seems to be struggling with, is definitely kind of on the edge with this anxiety. But when you, for example, let's say you meditate, or let's say if you deal with anxiety by meditation, that's when you really connect to this past version of you, and you're able, I wonder if you watch yourself in the past through the eyes, like if you've ever had anxiety attacks in the past, or if you had like moments where your anxiety was really, really bad, I think this present version of you watch those anxiety attacks through memories. And I feel like you give the past version of you some sort of stability and grounding, that they're able to get a hold of themselves, because you're watching them from a different perspective, from a calmer perspective, from a perspective of somebody that they know that they can deal with this anxiety, from a perspective of someone who knows that they can that there's resolution to this, even if it's imperfect resolution. I wouldn't even say resolution, I would say growth in terms of stabilizing your anxiety. I'm also seeing that the past version of you that's watching your present moment, or the present version of you, is really kind of, there's something about your home and the coziness. There's a lot of coziness here that I'm feeling. The coziness of your surroundings. Maybe that's the way that you started managing your anxiety. You just decided to have a cozier space for yourself. You tried, like, maybe smells really help you, because I'm getting a lot of energy of like, we've got this tea here, and she's got this like flower pot here, and there's a lot of flowers here. Maybe there's certain scents that calm you down, let's say lavender, or there's a lot of rose imagery to me here, so maybe the smell of roses. Like, it could be that really calms you down. And the past version watching this is becoming aware that maybe you're somebody who has sensory overload, and maybe that's something that the past version of you wasn't aware of, but I feel like the present version of you is aware of this. Like you might be on the spectrum, or you might have ASD, or even just like sensitivity in general, whether it's light sensitivity, smell, sound sensitivity. I feel like this is something that you're realizing for yourself, and you're not knocking yourself down for it, but you're realizing that you're different in the way that you perceive the world with this kind of sensitivity, and you're really accepting of who you are. And I think that gives your anxious self, the past self that's coming through, a real like a level or a snippet that tells them, hey, like you'll have a hold on this eventually. You just need to take it step by step. Take it slow. Don't rush anything. Don't doubt that you can do this. Yeah. You're illuminating something for your past self. It's like you're illuminating some sort of truth, even though obviously, the past is, like the past version of you is still kind of confused, and I definitely feel like they're very, very anxious. There's snippets of hope that they can get a handle on this, that you're helping them find. I wonder if you visit your past self, your past anxious self in meditation sometimes. Maybe that's something that is advised here for you. But I'm getting that kind of energy of like you currently, when you're meditating, maybe visiting yourself in your anxious states, whether it's when you were a child, whether it's when you were an adult. I feel like there's multiple past versions of yourself watching you in your current moment. Like, it's like it's almost like versions of you that really were going through really bad periods of anxiety that were very difficult. Some of you are just realizing you're just sensitive to energy as well. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be something to do with your, whether it's neurodiversity or whether it is just that you're sensitive to energy. It depends. And sometimes those can go hand in hand. They're not mutually exclusive as well. So I feel like you're realizing how sensitive you are to energy in this present moment, and you're helping the past version of yourself realize that it's going to take time and it's going to take dedicated effort to figure out how to protect yourself. Protection is really important here in terms of like energetic protection. Let's see what else we've got here with this pile. Okay, I'm gonna shuffle again because I don't feel those cards. Tower. Wow, yeah, I feel like the past version of you that's watching this right now is in a really, like, they're feeling chaotic, but I feel like the present version of you is really peaceful. At least comparing, even if you don't feel. And what I'm finding interesting is that we've got the Tower in terms of the Oracle card, and we've got the Tower with the Tarot card, but the Tarot or the Tower energies are very, very different. This Tower is all about unplugging, relaxing, and calm, and this Tower is all about chaos and destruction. So to me, it kind of feels like the past version of yourself, you are someone who transforms intensely. You are somebody who has like a storm of emotion or a storm of energy within you at all times. But what I think is happening with your present self is that you're able to take that storm and turn it into productive energy and turn it into something really stable and put a level of stability. You're a tower that doesn't fall down, whereas you used to be a tower that would crash in the past with this past version. And I feel like you're showing the past version of yourself that the storm of emotion, you are the master of your emotion. You are the master of your energy, and you can channel it well. Even if it's hard, you just need to do it step by step. And you don't have to expect too much of yourself. Maybe the past version of you that's watching you right now really expects a lot of themselves. They expect big leaps. They expect big successes. Whereas the present version of you, you're seeing wins in every situation. Like if you wake up early, like on time, let's say you set a goal of waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning to get a good start to the day. If you wake up at that and you don't hit the snooze button, you're like, that's a win. That's a win for me. Whereas in the past, you would have thought of a win as like something really big, getting a big promotion or something like that, or getting like all A's in an exam or whatever it was. Like I feel like you're realizing that step-by-step wins are just as important as big wins. The past version of you is really grateful to you currently for taking such a reign and such a care to stabilize yourself and stabilize your energy and protect your energy. They're so grateful because it's already affecting the past. It's almost like it's affecting the past version of them. And with we got the sun card coming out in the first file as well, so I'm so happy to get this here. I do feel like there's, again, as I said, I feel like there's a couple of past versions of you watching. So I definitely feel like there's a child version of you watching you as well right now, and really kind of going, maybe they're not understanding everything, but something about your demeanor and the calm that you're able to create around yourself currently is really helping the child version of you to deal with the strifes and the anxiety that they're feeling right now. Now, for some of you, this could be caused by external forces. In these past versions, I definitely feel external forces can be indicated with the Tower to me. So for some of you, maybe something really, really stressful is happening in this past versions of you, version of yours live. I don't know how to grammatically put all of those words together properly, but I feel like even with the external strife that this version of you is feeling, or these I would say multiple versions of you are feeling, maybe some of you had it like really chaotic, really destructive childhoods. It could have been spanning over, childhood and teenage years and potentially even young adulthood. I feel like how stable you are right now is so reassuring to these past versions of you. Like the gratitude, I feel main feeling that I'm feeling is gratitude. Like your past versions of you, they're feeling grateful, and they feel like you're like the caretaker that they didn't have. You're like the parent, or maybe you had really destructive caretakers, but this could be, even if it's not caretakers, it could have been like authority figures, like in terms of teachers. Like I know, for example, I know of a lot of people that had teachers that were not stable and should not have been teachers, so it's kind of like you're the caretaker, or this kind of like I wouldn't even say authority. I would say caretaker is the best way that I can put this. You're the caretaker that the past version of you needed, and especially the child version of you needed. And the gratitude and the happiness and the fulfillment that the past version of you has from you really taking a reign on your emotional health, on your protection, how you protect your energy, how you protect, and especially self-love. I think you're somebody who's probably currently really into self-love, really into self-acceptance, really into taking care of yourself as much as possible. And these past versions of you are just so, like, the gratitude is immense. It's immense. And I'm so excited to see the sun card come up for the second pile as well, which is really, really cute and really, really nice. And the main message here is just continue going step by step, because it's working. It's working on healing your past. It's working on healing the past versions of you. The step-by-step approach is probably the best for you, pile number 2. You don't need to rush anywhere, because you do things best when you take your time and take it slow. And this I am always enough, maybe that's one of your affirmations, or maybe it's something that you would like to use as an affirmation for yourself. I'm always enough. Maybe that's a good affirmation for you to say to yourself, or maybe you already say it. So that's all I'm getting, I think, for you, pile number 2. Really interesting reading. I feel like I almost want to say thank you to you for doing this for the past version of yourself. But I think that's why, because your past versions of you are really grateful for what you're doing currently and how you're taking care of yourself. So let's move on to pile number 3, and we're going to see what past version of you is coming through. Is it a child version, teenager version, and what do they want to say? Is it like, if you're older, it could be someone who's in their 20s, your 20s version of you coming through. But again, we'll see. For the last pile, we got multiples. So let's get started. We've got mermaid in a koi pond, rediscover your individuality, become the dragon. We've also got homeward, take yourself out on a date. We've also got the black cat, lost magic, atonement, and rebalance. We've also got fire, someone who is passionate, fearless, and exuberant. And then we've also got a tarot card, which is the Knight of Swords. This is a real mix of energies. We've got a little bit of everything here. There's something cozy here. There's something I'm getting a little bit of a witchy vibe from this. So maybe some of you are practice witchcraft, or maybe your spiritual practice is quite witchy. Maybe you are a very spiritual person. There's a lot of spiritual kind of vibes to me here, but at the same time, we've also got this kind of something about you currently. You're not playing it safe anymore. That's what I'm getting. So maybe the past version of you that's coming through is someone that played it safe, someone who was afraid to do something. Now, this could be, again, I would say it doesn't feel like a child version. It feels more so like maybe an adult or like a teenager. If you're a teenager right now, maybe, it's you 6 months ago or something like that. But I'm really getting a strong energy of somebody who plays it safe as a past version of you. Somebody who's afraid to take a risk. Someone who's afraid to take a chance. And they're watching you, or at least feeling, this feels more like they feel in their heart of hearts. It's almost like the past version of you is sitting there now and going I know one day I'll be brave enough. I know one day I'll be strong enough. I'll be decisive enough. I'll be fierce. Fierce is the word that's coming through for this pile. And I wouldn't say fierce in this kind of I don't know if fierce is even the right word. I'm going to take fierce just you are fierce. I do think you're fierce. But there's another word that's coming to mind. You're adventurous. You're way more adventurous, and you're way more likely to take a chance on yourself than the past version of you that's coming through would be. With the take yourself out on a date, and I'm getting someone who's passionate, fearless, and exuberant. I'm getting, maybe you're somebody who is more likely to go traveling on your own. Maybe you're somebody who's more likely to go, maybe this past version of you, and I do feel like that's something that's coming through. This past version of you would not be someone who would be comfortable being alone. You know what? That's exactly what I'm getting. This past version of you is not somebody who's comfortable being alone. They always need a friend with them. They always need a relationship, or, whatever version of it. They want to be safe with other people. They want to be around other people. If they want to go traveling, they need another person to go with them. If they want to do something, they need another person with them. The present version of you is somebody who does things alone and is excited to do things alone, feels complete within themselves. The individuality thing is really coming through with this rediscover your individuality, become the dragon, and then we've got all this fire energy. You are so fiery. Maybe you're like a fire sign that used to not be very fiery and you kind of found your fire along the way, and I think this past version of you is so grateful. Again, the word fears does keep coming through, so I'm getting warrior as well. There's something a bit more you're a warrior, but not in this kind of impulsive, crazy, irresponsible way. You're a warrior for your own independence, and you want to express yourself, and you want to be able to do everything you want to do, and you're not going to wait for other people to agree. You're not going to wait for other people to catch up with you. You're going ahead. You're not waiting for anybody. Maybe this past version of you was waiting for someone. Let's say if this was a relationship or something like that, and this past version of you is currently waiting for somebody to be ready to go somewhere, or be ready to give them some sort of attention. The present version of you is not waiting for anybody. The present version of you is like, I'm off, I'm doing what I want to do. You can either come with me or you can stay behind. Whereas this past version of you is always maybe overly cautious and overly careful with like people that are not having the same drive or ambition as them. They're always kind of sitting like, oh, I'll just wait for them to catch up to me, and I'll wait for them to be ready so that, you know, we can do it together. And this past version of you is not really realizing that it's important to just go for it. Also, I'm just noticing, I'm pretty sure on her cup, like it's really faint, but I'm pretty sure it's a sword on her cup. And it's funny because we've got this Knight of Swords. That's really interesting. I think there's a sword on her cup. There's just something about you seeking adventure and you seeking to gain new experiences and not waiting for other people, not waiting till other people are ready, not waiting till other people can do this with you. You're like, I'm going to go and do this on my own. Like, why do I need to wait for these people? And I think the past version of you is really like amazed that you're able to do things on your own and you're able to express yourself so freely and be so adventurous and like not needing to play it safe. Some of you could have like literally moved somewhere by yourself, or you could have gone traveling somewhere by yourself, and the past version of you is really amazed that you're able to do it, because the past version of you could have never been able to. And it's giving the past version of you more courage, more ability to be like, wow, I'm courageous. Like, I know that I'm strong. I know that I'm deep down, I'm adventurous. I know that deep down I have the courage to do all these things on my own. I don't need to wait for anybody. Doesn't mean that you'll never be able to do things by yourself or with somebody else, or that like there's no friends or people around you. I just think you don't wait for anybody, which is really nice. Okay, let's get more information on what does the past version of you want to tell you. I'm also seeing that you have a lot of fun by yourself, and the past version of you didn't know that was possible. There's that kind of feeling of, I didn't even know that it was possible to have fun by myself. I didn't even know that it was possible to, you know, to have confidence and to have this, like, I'm kind of, you're having this much fun by yourself. That's amazing. Maybe the past version of you always needed to be around people. Again, it could be that you needed people's approval or people's support, and the present version of you is realizing you don't need nobody's approval or support. I feel like this past version of you is really afraid to do something. Just go and do something. I feel like for a lot of you, this could even be like a career situation or a job situation. If it's not travel or like moving countries or moving places, this could be like a career situation where the past version of you is too afraid to leave like a workplace, because they feel like if they leave the workplace and they have to go out in the world by themselves and go after like a career that they really want to do, they could fail and there would be nobody to pick them up. And I feel like the present version of you is either about to do it or has already done it, and it already has like this level of inspiration. The past version of you is really confused, like really, really confused. Yeah, they're afraid that people will judge them for doing what they want to do. They're afraid that people will not accept them. They're afraid that if they do things on their own or in their own way, that people are gonna, they're never gonna get help. They're never gonna get, why is there so much like, I just want people to approve of me. I want my friends to come do things with me. For some of you, maybe you had like a friendship group, or this could be, again, I do get some coworker maybe vibes. This past version of you could be in a job where they don't feel like they fit in, and it's not necessarily because the people are bad, but they don't feel like they fit in, and they know they need a different career, they need a different approach, or maybe like, you know, a friendship group that they know they don't fit in with, and yet they're so afraid because it's like, if I leave this friendship group, I'm going to be, I'm going to be alone and I won't have like people behind me. But they realize that they don't resonate with these people. There's something about a group setting where this person feels overwhelmed, like this person, meaning the past version of you, feels overwhelmed and feels like they need a support group. They need someone behind them. But the present version of you has already escaped that group and is able to see the beauty in following your own heart and being individualistic. For some of you, because I was feeling the spiritual energy, maybe the past version of you is really pulled towards spirituality, pulled towards, like, let's say astrology, tarot, whatever it is, spiritual practices, but is really afraid to tap into it because they're afraid that people are not going to accept them. They're not going to be accepted. They're going to be seen as weird or but I feel like the present version of you is like, I don't give a shit about what people think about me. I don't give a shit about what people like. Yeah, we've got this King of Swords. A lot of swords energy here. Fire, swords. A lot of fire, a lot of swords. Because we've got this dragon as well. That it says dragon. Fire and fire and air, sorry, I meant to say. We've also got 9 of Swords in reverse, and we've got 10 of Cups. Yeah, I feel like the present version of you is doing something that you really, really love. With the homeward, I feel like you've come back home to yourself rather than always trying to impress the public or trying to impress a group of people or a group of friends or a group of co-workers. I feel like the present version of you is really happy. Specifically, this feels like a career or somewhere where you live. And the past version of you is really amazed that you were able to just break out of the mold, I'm hearing, and do whatever it is that you were truly called towards, whether it's and it feels like more either a traveling situation, like you maybe you were called to live somewhere and it was away from like all your friends and all your family, but you decided to go anyway. And the past version of you that was afraid to do it is so amazed by your bravery, courage, and fierceness. Or this could be like a career situation where you were working somewhere that didn't give you joy, that, sucked all your energy out, felt very, very low vibrational, and you wanted to get out. You wanted to do something different. You wanted maybe to do something creative. I feel like some of you wanted like a spiritual career, but you felt like people would reject you or make fun of you or make you feel bad for doing it. And yet you went and did it. There's a lot of messages of courage, and you're helping the past version of you to feel more courageous and to feel more inspired, courageous. They feel there's moments of that fierceness that they channel from you, from your current self. Like you are someone, the way that they view you is someone who is so brave that like knowing that they become this person helps them feel safe. And I feel like the past version of you was all about feeling safe. And it's like they didn't realize that to feel safe, they just needed to test their boundaries of safety and to get out of that safety net. And once they got out of the safety net and saw that they were such a badass outside of the safety net and that they were able to be this warrior, this adventurous person, human, someone who has this like fire within them, that makes them feel safe. Because it's like, if I can be this warrior in the future, if I can be this adventurer in the future, that makes me feel safe. That puts me into this like safety, a different version of a safety net that feels a lot more natural to me. I hope that it makes sense. It's almost like, let's say the past version of you doesn't want to leave their hometown, wants to stay at home, doesn't want to push their boundaries, to push their limits. And the present version of you is pushing limits to the max. And the past version of you watching the present version of you pushing your limits and pushing the adventurous side and pushing that, like, I don't care who accepts me. I don't care who doesn't. I'm just going to like stand up and be who I want to be and do what I want to do. That makes the past version of you feel safe. Because it's like this person's yours. Oh my God, I'm getting so confused doing these readings the way I'm trying to speak. You're your past version's like protector. It's like you're your own bodyguard in some sort of way, like bodyguard, like they feel protected by to the past version, you're the future self. So like they feel protected by the future version of themselves. So your present state is almost like your past self's protector, bodyguard. You're somebody brave. You're like the bravery that they needed in the past, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. But that's the reading that I got for pile number 3. Really interesting. Definitely keep doing what you're doing. The more you step out of your comfort zone, the more you step towards things that maybe feel scary but are exciting and make you feel like you're a badass, the more you are healing this past version of you. Again, I was getting kind of like multiple ages for this. This didn't feel particularly like a specific age or a period of time, so I hope that's okay with you. If you like this reading, do like, subscribe, and comment, and definitely give me some feedback. I'd love to hear what this pile has to say. I'd love to hear what type of adventures that you're partaking in right now and what risks you're taking. And risk is kind of, that's what I was feeling. And I'm going to move on now to pile number 4. So pile number 4, let's have a look at your reading from your past self. What does the past version of you want to tell you? Which age might this be? We'll see, what the circumstances are. For some of the piles, what I was getting is more like all of the past versions were coming through, or like different types of past versions were coming through. It wasn't just one. So we're going to see what you have coming through. So first of all, we've got bitch fire, stand up for yourself. Lovely. We've got red, forgive. We've also got little brother, little sister, siblings, younger friends, responsibility. We've also got bridge, show gratitude to the past as you transition from one phase of life into the next. And we've also got the 5 of Pentacles, and we've also got the 10 of Cups. Okay, I'm getting some like very specific messages for you. This version of you, the past self version of you, is someone who's made some silly decisions, some stupid decisions, that the present version of you could be berating them for. When we say, oh my God, when I was 18, I can't believe, I decided to go and do this course or something like that in college. Or I can't believe that I went out with this person. I was such a dumb bitch, basically. I was such a dumb person. I think your past version, the past version of you, has done something silly, and they know it's silly. They know it's something that wasn't in their best interest. They know that they know they kind of screwed up, basically. They know they screwed up. But what they're trying to say is, can you please forgive me? I think that's what they want. Like, I'm actually getting quite sad with this pile. It's like, can you please forgive me? Can you please show me some forgiveness? And can you show me some gratitude? It's funny because I'm starting to speak in like first person. I didn't do that for any of the other piles. I'm pretty sure I didn't, but it's like they want to say, can you please forgive me? Can you please show me some gratitude? Because I survived very difficult things so that you could be where you are now. And I'm so happy that where you are right now is somewhere where you stand up for yourself, and you're this like fierce, again, it's funny because the word fierce came through in pile 3, but I feel like you presently are someone very, very fierce. If you were attracted to pile 3, maybe watch that as well. But again, if you weren't attracted, forget about it. But I'm getting a very strong energy of the past version of yourself has made a stupid decision, right? They made a stupid decision. They could have made an array of stupid decisions, but they're saying, please forgive me. Please forgive me. Please give me gratitude for the things that I survived so that you could be where you are, and so that you could become this fierce person, and so that you could be this amazing, like vivacious person. Vivacious. I think you have a lot of kind of like, you have a lot of potent energy. And by potent, I mean like you are somebody who, I'm getting the words enigmatic, vivacious, potent. You have a lot of concentrated energy. You're somebody who conserves your energy from, like you don't waste your energy on like people that are gonna come and, do you dirty. And I think the past version of you did that. Wasted energy. Like, I'm almost hearing you say, what a waste of time. What a waste of energy these people were. that course was, those people were, specifically people I'm getting. Specifically people that left you out in the cold, and when they entertained you for a little while, you were like running back to them, and it's like this fierce version of you that is here presently is like, what a waste of time, what a stupid decision to take that ex back, what a stupid decision to let those fake friends back in. How stupid, how silly. And the past version of you is like hurting because of that, because they know they made a bad decision. They know, trust me. And they're like, I'm almost getting like, what they would say is, I know that I made a stupid decision. I know I did something really silly by letting those people back in, putting effort in with them when they didn't deserve it. I know. And I even knew it while I was doing it. But there was a lesson there for me, for us, not just for me, for us together. Like, we needed to know that this is something that happens, and these are the consequences of putting energy into people that don't deserve that energy. But you wouldn't be where you are right now. You wouldn't be this fierce present self me if I didn't fuck up the way that I did. And I'm actually so glad that I fucked up the way that I did, so that you could be where you are right now. And I'm so happy seeing you where you are right now, but I want you to show me more compassion and even gratitude. I want you to say thank you to me for dealing with those people. Like, and I'm back to Vlada. This is like, I feel like I'm channeling very, very intensely for this pile. God, I feel like, you know why I think I'm channeling so intensely for this pile? I think it's because I relate to this pile a lot. But I think that the past version of you, like, maybe the past version of you as well, what could have been another thing is that you maybe grew up in a place where you didn't know what, like, appropriate boundaries were, or what love really meant, and how to distinguish when a person loved you, or when a person was just obsessed with you, or when a person was a nasty person but they were like using you. You didn't know how to distinguish it, and you had to go through this in order to be able to distinguish it. And now, like, you are a bad bitch now with this bitch fire card. Like, you are a bad bitch. You're somebody who is, you're everything. Like, you're so decisive. You're somebody who has very strong boundaries. I feel that very intensely. You're somebody who knows what they want and who they're going to let into their life, who they're not going to let into their life. But the past version of you didn't know. They didn't know. They had no clue. And they're saying, like, can you treat me the way you would treat a little brother or a little sister? Can you treat me? Maybe some of you have siblings, or you have like younger friends or something like that who you have a lot of compassion for. Like, when they make a mistake, you're very compassionate with them, and you're really, some of you could have like baby sisters or little sisters, little brothers, who you're really like, little siblings that you're really like understanding of. And if they get into a pickle, or entertain people that they shouldn't entertain, you have so much compassion for them. But when it comes to the younger version of you, you're like, I should have known better. So your younger version, your past version, is trying to ask you to have that same compassion for them. And like, they're even saying, you know what, I think you were a little bit fierce. This past version of you could have been a little bit fierce as well, because it's not even that they're like, can you please forgive me? They're like, you also need to be grateful. You need to be grateful. You need to be grateful that I did all these things for you. I went through a lot of shit so that you could be where you are right now. They're a little bit like, hey, come on, stop being mean to me, stop being a bitch to me. Like, the past version of you is kind of like a little bit more, like, I would say the past version of you is a little bit more fierce than the other piles, even, because there's just like this, hey, I know I didn't know what I was doing and I made some stupid decisions. I know, I get sad about it too, but I went through a lot of crap so that you could get where you are. Don't you forget about it. And I'm even getting, see the way there's like a faint outline. It's like this girl is walking through, but then there's also like faint outlines of her. I'm kind of seeing this as the past version of you, but I'm also seeing the present. I feel like the present version of you is coming through in this pile as well. The future version of you is coming through as well. It's like I think the future version of you understands that you present version of you judging the past version of you is wrong, and even the future, they're ganging up on you. And just saying they're kind of ganging up on you. This is a funny pile. The future version of you is like, you need to, the future version of you is kind of like a little bit more calm, and they're a little bit more like, you need to just be more grateful, and you just need to forgive. I've forgiven them, and I'm grateful to them. And it's almost like the future version of you is maybe even talking to the past version of you, and they're like, hey, look, the present version, or the past version of me doesn't understand that they need to be more understanding of you. There's so much going on. Like, I feel like you're constantly, I wonder if you constantly battle with versions of yourself. Like, if you constantly kind of, it's almost kind of feels like, three siblings: the past version of you, the present version of you, and the future version of you. And all of you have like these slightly different personalities, but all of you are fierce, and all of you have like this fire within you, like that bitch fire within you. But all of you kind of almost bicker between each other as well, which is really funny. Like, I'm getting almost like this energy of bickering. Like, why is this so funny to me? I don't know. It's just funny. Okay, we've got the Wheel of Fortune. We've got the Judgment card in reverse. Another thing that I think that the past version of you wants to say is that some of these things were truly destined, and some of the stupid decisions, or perceivably stupid decisions, that the past version of you made, it's like they had no choice but to make those decisions. It's like there was something higher kind of purpose at play, that they had to make those decisions. No matter how stupid they were, they had to happen. It's like your past version of you is like, what do you want me to do? Like, it had to happen. What do you want me to do? Do you want me to like not exist? I have to exist. I exist because I'm you. Why is this so funny? I'm literally like laughing alone in my room. Like, sometimes I do these readings and I'm like, I'm laughing alone at my room at the things that I'm saying to myself. We've also got Four of Pentacles. They're saying like, be more open-minded, be more understanding. Buddy. We've also got the Nine of Swords. Yeah, like, I feel like, again, I will just repeat myself, as I often do. Past version of you is kind of saying, look, I was in a tough spot. I was not the luckiest of people. Some of these things were destined. I had to make these stupid decisions. I went through a lot of shit, and I had to deal with a lot of shit, because that's just how things turn out sometimes. And there was a lesson there for me. There were things that I had to do, but now because of this, you're blossoming. And I'm getting like this bathtub. It's like, you're blossoming now, and you're fierce, and I love seeing how fierce you are. But at the same time, I need you to be grateful to me. So maybe for some of you, it's important to, especially I'm getting journaling. For some of you, maybe journal and journal my, what I'm grateful for to my past version of myself. I'm grateful, and I'm so happy that the past version of myself, got through a difficult relationship, got through fake friendships, got through a difficult family situation, got through, an upbringing in a low-income family or something like that. Like, all these things that you may want to show gratitude for to your past self. And again, I'm not saying you're always shitting on your past version of yourself, but I think it's just the past version of yourself is a little bit fierce as well. Like, they're not so soft. Pile number 4. But this was a really fun reading. Thank you for a laugh, and thank you for joining me. I really enjoyed this reading. And another thing, actually, I just want to say is that the past version of you wants you to know that with the kind of like the world, like, I always think with the world in his hand, I always think like the world. There's a whole world in your hands, and the fact that we have this hand imagery, like, you have the world at your fingertips right now, and you want to hate on me? Like, why am I hearing these things in my head? It's like, you have the whole world at your fingertips right now, and you want to hate on me? How dare you? Shame on you. Nah, there. I think this is kind of like, I honestly feel like you presently, you in the past, and your future self, you're like siblings. You love each other, but you do tend to bicker with each other almost like on this energetic level, which I kind of love. I love this energy. Okay, this was really fun. Pile number 4, if you like to do, like, subscribe and comment, let me know. I'd love to hear about this pile. And we're going to move on to pile number 5 for what does your past self want to tell you. Okay, so the past version of you, we're gonna be looking at maybe what age they are. We're gonna potentially see where they are in their life, in your life right now. But we'll see, because for some of the piles, the readings were a little bit more obscure. So let's move on into it. So we've got 14 thorns. Weave together the crown you deserve. And can I just say, look at this. We've got, like, I'm almost getting versions of you already, even though, like, they look vastly different in this card. For some reason, I'm getting, like, versions of yourself. We've got potentially, maybe there's 2 past versions of you. You could be very similar to pile 4, where I'm getting a little bit of energy of a future version of you coming through. They might have something to say as well, but we're gonna continue. So we've also got the golden phoenix, something you thought finished burst back into your life. Synchronicity, the synchronization you are experiencing is the universe letting you know that you are aligning to your true path. I think you, pile 5, you are in alignment with your past self and your future self. There's something about you merging the 3 very well, the past, the present, and the future. I feel like some of you merge your, again, why is pile 5 always like the wisest, the wisdom bringers? We've got the page of coins, and we've got the world card in reverse. Now, the page of coins, you could be an earth sign. We've got Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Not necessarily. I'm also feeling some fire energy here, and Capricorn stands out to me with the world as it represents Saturn. So just, that's something that's coming through. But I feel like, congratulations, first of all, to pile number 5, because I feel like you are doing a great job at integrating your past self and your future self, your higher self. You are so good at giving enough attention to all of the versions of yourself. You're so good at paying attention to what the past version of you went through, what the future of you could potentially go through, and just something about you is very spiritually in tune. Very, very much so. Something about you is so mature. So mature. And I feel like maybe you were always mature. You could be a very old soul, pile number 5, because I feel like even the past version of you feels really mature to me. Even when I think of Page of Pentacles, to me, Page of Pentacles is the most mature page. I'd almost see the Page of Pentacles more mature than the knights, certain knights, Knight of Wands or Knight of Swords. I'd see the Page of Pentacles almost more mature than them. So even the, for some reason I keep wanting to say inner child. So, this past version of you could be a child that's coming through. And I feel like even as a child, even if you don't really believe that yourself, this past version of you is coming through as someone very mature. Someone who always knew they deserved good things. Someone who always knew they deserved to be like a queen or a king, or like someone who wears a crown, someone who is impressive. I can't quite express how mature this energy feels for pile number 5. Your the past version of yourself is really standing out to me as a child, but a very, very mature child, a child that wants you to know that seeing you transform, like, I think you had a lot of transformations in this lifetime, and I feel like currently in your present energy, I feel like you might be going through a transformation right now as we speak. And I feel like it's almost like, it's really funny because it's like the child version of you or the past version of you is so mature that they're holding your hand through this transformation. That's what it feels like. they're holding your hand and they're saying, hey, everything's going to be okay. I know that I'm strong at my very core, even as a child. Maybe because as a child, you were always very mature and very strong. And again, I'm not saying mature in this like weird way. I would say old soul feels more comfortable to say to me in this instance. You had so much like underlying knowledge as a child, or as a child, that this child version of you is like, hey, look at how in the know we were and how knowledgeable we were. Even when we were naive, we already had so much knowledge, spiritual knowledge. We already had so much that we understood about life without really having that mental understanding. We had almost a spiritual understanding. So you don't need to worry about anything. I'm here for you. It's almost like, when I'm getting this energy, when like an adult is crying and a child comes to comfort them and gives them advice. Like, I've definitely seen videos of like mothers feeling overwhelmed and they're like crying in the closet or something like that, or they're crying in another room, and the child comes over and they're like, hey, everything's okay. I know you're going to be okay. And they give like advice that is really, really simple, but it almost feels really like mature. So that's the energy that I'm getting from your inner child, from your past self. It's like your past self is like, everything's going to be okay because we're okay and we're really smart people. Like, they want you to know that you're smart and you're smart together. And they're like, I know you're going to be okay. And that's why I think that maybe you're going through a bit of a tough time, or at least your transformation is feeling a little bit intense. I don't think that necessarily many that pick this pile are going through like a really horrible time, but you could be going through a time of confusion and a time of like, what the hell is going on? And I'm seeing that your past self is coming through and going like, hey, we survived like worse things, and your future self is coming through and it's like, hey, like, I know you survived this. All versions of you are really caring, and they're like, it's almost like it's like your child self and your future self, they're like, she, he, or they need me right now. They need me right now. They need us right now. So we're going to come together as a team. Like, I feel like you're working as a team with the past version of yourself and the future version of yourself. And they're like, hey, we've gotten through difficult things, and we're also going to get through more difficult things in the future. We're really strong. We don't need to worry about this. This is going to be okay. You just wait, and you're going to see how great everything turns out to be. The synchronization you are experiencing is the universe letting you know you are aligning to your true path. Your past and your future versions of yourself want you to know that you're aligning to your true path and you're on the right track. I feel like that's the main message here. It's funny because in all the other piles, I felt like the past version of the people needed the present version. And in this pile, I feel like you need your past version. You need your inner child right now. That's what I'm getting. Like, maybe spend time with your inner child, do things that your inner child, like your childhood self, used to love doing. Like, I'm really getting this energy of like, it's almost like they're spending time with their childhood self. What did you love doing as a child? Spend time with yourself as a child. Connect to that energy. You don't always have to be so mature all the time with the world card in reverse, because even being childlike, you have a certain level of like almost a spiritual, beautiful, abundant maturity. Maybe you're striving to be someone who's mature. Like, you might be one of those people who feels like they're not quite an adult. You don't feel like an adult, and you're like, oh my God, when am I going to start feeling like an adult? When am I going to start feeling like I have things together? And I feel like your future self is like, it's not about that. It's about feeling like yourself. And your past self is coming through. It's like, why do you want to be mature right now? Let's go play. Let's go do things that we used to love doing. Maybe some of you are trying to like accumulate wealth, wow, we've got the Empress card. I feel like you're so abundant and you have so much to show for yourself, but internally you kind of feel there's a lot of inner child healing that's going on here, and I think you're actually doing a really good job when it comes to your inner child healing, but it's almost like you'll do a bit of inner child work and then you'll go, okay, now I need to be the adult version of me. I need to be that successful go-getter. I need to be someone who has my life figured out. And it's almost like your inner child is like, but you do have your life figured out. I had my life figured out when I was like 6. You know, we both had our lives figured out forever. Like, it's all within us. We don't need to have, nothing needs to be figured out. It's all figured out already. We just need to enjoy the moment. Maybe you just need to live more in the moment to connect to this past version of yourself. Your inner child is so wise. Like, if you ever want answers to anything, I feel like a good thing to do is either do something that you used to love doing as a child, or like try to call on your inner child to give you answers. I'm almost like, out of both of these adult women, I'm seeing this child as like the wisest. It's almost like this child is the mentor. This child is, your best mentorship comes from your inner child. This child is the mentor. This child is the wise elder. This child is the leader here. And the adults are following the child. So I feel like the adult version of you needs to follow your child's footsteps. Maybe when you were a child, you didn't try to have it all figured out. You just liked figuring it out as you go. It's so interesting. This is such a, like, I really didn't expect to get this type of reading. And it's just kind of like, it's really interesting to me. I'm also getting like, and what if you figured it all out? Like, your past self is so freaking wisdomous, wise. They're like, and what if you did have it all figured out? What then? And define having it all figured out. How would you define it? And why would you define it that way? I feel like some of you just you worry that you are not on track, or that you're not where you should be at this point in your life. And your inner child, and again, I keep saying inner child because I think there's a lot of like inner child energy here. Your inner child is like, why do you feel like you are exactly where you need to be, because you are still here. You are exactly where you need to be. And I feel like your inner child really wants to tell you that they love you and they really care about you. And like, I'm really getting this energy of like, just come play with me. Just come, like, let's just go, like, let's go for a walk together. Let's just come play with me, and we can talk about it. You know, we can talk about all your worries. I'm almost getting, see the way the hands are on the Ace of Cups here? It's like they're pulling you by the hand going, come on, let's go play. Let's go. You need to nurture me with the Empress card. You need to nurture my interests. You need to nurture my hobbies more. You need to give me more attention. That's what they're asking for. I just noticed we've got 33 and the 3. So 3 could be important. Maybe you're a life path 3. We've got the 3 of Swords in reverse here. There's a lot of wisdom and a lot of mentorship that comes with, like, when maybe you didn't even feel that mature or that wise as a child, but I think you were a really wise child. You have the child version of you has a lot of answers to what you're trying to figure out right now. And you're just going through a transformation right now. I think that's what both your inner child and your future self, they both want you to know. You're just going through a transformation right now, and so you're confused. But we're here, like literally, I can't stop looking at this card. It's like, I'm kind of saying, like, this is you in the present, and this is the future you, and this is the inner child. And they're like, everything's okay. Let's just do this together. Let's just play together. It's like, let's do something like a hobby that we like doing. Self-care, self-love is really coming through. So it's like, what do you like doing? Present version. What do you like doing? And the inner child is like, do you want to do something that you used to really love when you were me? And the future version of you is like, hey, I'm here to tell you that everything's going to work out just the way that it needs to work out. And you're going through a transformation and it's stressful right now. But you just need to be in the moment a little bit more. You need to, like, enjoy enjoy the moment as much as you can. For some of you, there's also a message of like, whatever you might be a student currently, maybe you're studying something and you're worried that this is not the right path for you. You're on the right path. Even if you don't end up doing something that you're studying, there's good in there, that there's information that you need. But I really love the reassurance of like, it's funny because, as I said, all the other piles, it was like the past version needed the present version, but I feel like you currently need your inner child, and your inner child wants to help you, and that's really cute. This is a really cute pile. I really enjoy doing this reading. If you like this, do like, subscribe, and comment with your feedback. I'd really love to see what you have to say, how it resonated. If it did resonate, let me know. And I'm going to see you in my next video. Bye.